dog.
And Byrne hits the back of Da Costa. It's a double win for Mitch Evans. Stoffel Van Dorn moves to the lead of the championship.
This is the one!
Stoffel Van Dorn, he is in a very strong place. Evans wins the Seoul E-Prix.
Come on! Yes.
Hello and welcome to South Korea. It's a historic day for the pioneering ABB FIA Formula E World Championship here in Seoul. Today not only marks the end of a dramatic Season 8 in a two-car fight to clinch that all-important World Championship title, but it's also a landmark moment. The 100th race in Formula E's history since it started back in 2014. But before racing gets underway here, let's remind ourselves of what happened in yesterday's opening race of the weekend. For round 15, Oliver Rowland claimed his first pole of the season, with Lucas di Grassi qualifying in second. Behind him was Mitch Evans, ahead of championship leader Stoffel Van Dorn, who started back in seventh.
And we go green in Seoul. Pretty good start from Evans. Mitch Evans in third place goes to the outside. Rowland's getting swamped. Can Evans take the lead? Coming down into the right-hander. He's hanging it out on the outside, but di Grassi takes the lead. Evans is second. Rowland is third, but Evans has got the lead. The Jaguar man is on an absolute mission, and Mitch Evans hits the front after two turns in the Seoul E-Prix. And here comes Rowland attacking Lucas di Grassi, sends it up the inside into the stadium section, and he makes it through, so Rowland back up into second place.
The wet conditions saw carnage at turn 20 as 8 Formula E cars crashed out of the race in a massive pile-up. They were all denied the chance to complete even just one lap of the track before the race was red flagged. On the restart, Sims got into trouble and hit Giovinazzi.
Wow. Buongiorno's, Antonio.
Mitch Evans was stretching out a commanding lead of the race. Not far behind was the championship leader trying to catch him.
So that's Van Dorn up into fifth place. He's just got ahead of Jean-Eric Byrne because he was under pressure from Mortara.
Great job, mate. Let's go.
Bernheim made his move on Mortara to take 7th position. But worse was yet to come for the Swiss Rocket Venturi driver. After a recent run of bad form, this became his third consecutive race where he failed to score any points after he was forced to retire.
But Mortara maybe has tapped the wall and picked up a puncture, and his race is run, and his championship is over.
With just a few minutes left of the race, Alexander Sims was in 10th position when he lost control of the back end of the car and crashed out of the race.
Oh, and in the wall is that Sims. It's the Mahindra of Sims.
The late incident brought out the safety car, meaning the race was neutralised, and Evans took his 4th victory of the season, with Rowland finishing in second and di Grassi in third.
Yes! Come on! Yes!
Van Dorn's lead in the overall standings has been narrowed to 21 points, with Mitch Evans just behind in the hunt for that all-elusive top spot. Well, that has to be the debut of all debuts, an epic race yesterday in Seoul. Congratulations to Mitch Evans and the team. And I'm delighted to say that joining me now is Jack Nicholls, international commentator, and Dario Franchitti, 3-time Indy 500 winner. Guys, it was just a phenomenal race. Mitch Evans, it was a flawless performance from him.
It's the kind of thing Evans can do, and we've seen him do so many times this season and over the last few years. Once he gets in the groove, he disappears. Mexico City last season, bye. Rest of the field is just gone and obliterated. And this is a guy who was really down after free practice and was saying, oh, my car's no good in the dry. Oh, I need a rain dance. The race was dry. He disappeared. Phenomenal performance. And he's given himself a shot. He did all he could yesterday to win the championship.
Which is just brilliant to see, because he's given himself that shot twice before and it hasn't worked out. So he really is keeping this championship alive. But it's still very much Stoffel's to lose. He's in a really good position as well.
Oh, absolutely. Stoffel's done a phenomenal job throughout the season. Him and the Mercedes EQ team, they've been consistent, they've been quick. You know, Mitch has had a couple of reliability issues. But for Mitch Evans today, all he can do is he's got to go out and just try and repeat, win the race. Yeah. That's all he can do. He can't control what Stoffel Van Dorn does. Stoffel, if he's in the top 5, he's quite happy. But you can't back into a championship either, so he's got to continue to attack in a controlled manner like he did in yesterday's race too.
And it always amazes me how many race winners we get in Formula E, and you never know who's going to win. And then the time that Evans has to win yesterday, he did.
Did it.
It's like, well, you needed to win for the last 4 races, but couldn't pull it off. And then the last possible minute, you're able to deliver. And that's,
I'm glad he did.
yeah, absolutely. But that's the kind of amazing thing that for a driver, once they actually really have to, like, it's like they go into a sort of out-of-body experience almost and just dominate.
I guess Mitch Evans is just hoping, fingers crossed, that he doesn't have any issues with the car because, you know, Mitch has always delivered for the team, but unfortunately the car hasn't necessarily always delivered for him, whereas Stoffel van Dorn has always had a huge amount of reliability from the Mercedes EQ team.
We see always. There is that thing, you win and you lose as a team, right? But yeah, Mitch this year, the inverter in London, I think really hurt him, but it's not over yet.
It is not. It is a big weekend. It's the title decider. It is also the 100th race in Formula E, a moment in history. We cannot wait for it to get underway, but let's take a look back at how the 8 seasons have gone so far.
For the first time, we go green in Beijing.
In just 8 years, Formula E has shaken up the motorsport landscape, delivering drama and creating heroes in the world's most iconic cities.
De Grassi wins in New York City.
Most of people thought it was a bad idea or it wouldn't work. And after 8 years, or after 10 years actually from inception, here we are, stronger than ever, celebrating 100 races.
I did 2 seasons in the Gen 1 car. The car was very raw. It was hard to manage, but quite a fun car to drive.
The first generation battery wasn't able to run a full race, giving rise to a one-of-a-kind pit stop.
Swapping cars was kind of new to me. I didn't know what to expect, and I thought that it was kind of cool for the championship.
I hated those car swaps so much. Every weekend I was bruised everywhere, and I really didn't like them.
Whilst the technology was still developing off-track, on-track there was never a doubt that the championship could deliver on drama.
Oh, it's hit him! I don't believe it! The 2 championship contenders out of turn 1. Oh, he's hit him! The 2 Tachitas hit each other!
So the most iconic crash of the history of Formula E was in the first race. Less corner, less lap.
And they make contact, and they're both off!
It catapulted Formula E to a different level. Given that both drivers were safe, that was actually a massive push for the general public to know Formula E more.
Season 5 was the beginning of the Gen 2 era, and with innovations such as attack mode, the racing was faster and more competitive than ever.
It's 3 wide as they come down into the corner.
I was fairly ambitious by Mortara.
Yes, yes.
It's 0! De Grassi wins!
We used to need 2 cars to do a 45-minute race at lower speeds than we do now with only 1 car. So the evolution in technology has been insane.
For season 7, Formula E was granted World Championship status by the FIA, and it became the first sport to be certified net zero carbon since inception.
We're not here just to race. We're here for a lot more than that. Push on the message that we all have. To drive to a more sustainable planet, a more sustainable way of driving. I think it's great, and that's the reason why Formula E is what it is today as well.
And with the Gen 3 car on the horizon, a faster, more sustainable car will break the mold once more, taking Formula E to the next level.
Reaching 100 races is a pretty special milestone for the series.
It's certainly very remarkable to see how quickly Formula E has come along and how quickly it has grown to a really established championship.
To see the respect that we were able to get from the motorsport world in general in only 7-8 years, it's amazing.
Well, what an epic journey it has been for Formula E, and absolutely delighted to say that both you and I were there at the beginning. Dilbert Gill, team principal for Mahindra. You were there at the very start of Formula E, but before we focus on what has been and what is to come, let's have a quick chat about yesterday's race. Fantastic result for Oliver Rowland.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think our car was pretty strong in those changing conditions with the pole position and finishing second. It was really nice because this year we did struggle, and for once we were able to come out and sort of swing for the fence, and we got it.
He just said he was having so much fun out there. I mean, he controlled that car incredibly well in qualifying, and then, had a fantastic race, kept up the pace.
Yeah, that's true. While he had fun, we had our hearts in our mouths with the car sliding all over the place and him taking 6 tenths.
Keeping you on your toes.
Absolutely, man. Like it was a bit nervous times, but overall I think it was very satisfying.
Good. Slightly different though on the other side of the garage. Alexander Sims in the wall. Tough day for him.
Yeah, it was really unnatural because normally these conditions should have suited Alexander. He's really good in greasy conditions, but I think just maybe pushing in the end, 3 red flags with the same driver on the day, it was tough for him.
Now, Dilbag, this is an exciting race. It's the 100th race in Formula E history. It's also the end of an era. At the end, we're going to say goodbye to the Gen 2 car. You're going to be saying goodbye to Alexander Sims, but it's a big hello to Lucas Di Grassi in Gen 3.
Yeah, I think eyes forward. This championship has been really great. I think it's given us great memories. The product's been really strong. Gen 2 was amazing, like with some of the innovations formerly brought into the attack mode, etc. I think it's really entertained people over the last 55 races in, I think, Gen 2. Looking forward to Gen 3. I think that's going to be a step up. It's literally going into the unknown in Gen 3. That car's a beast.
Yeah, I cannot wait. 330 kilometers an hour.
Some big number out there, yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that won't cause more crashes.
Fingers crossed, but I think we have like a lovely lineup with Lucas joining in. And Lucas coming with a very focused mind that he knows his job at Mahindra. He knows he has to now rebuild this team. He knows he has to take this team forward. So he's coming with a very different mindset. He's saying, okay, I'm taking on this challenge. And Roland's really happy with it also because he knows that the team is going to go forward with both of them moving. And I think for us, it's something which is very important in our journey right now to take us forward.
And Oliver was saying as well, he's really excited about having Lucas as part of the team. It's really going to push him forward. And ultimately, you know, Lucas has had more podiums than ever. He's raced more races than any. But Dilbag, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you over the course of the season. We're going to wish you all the best for this final race. And we cannot wait to join you in India. Yes, thank you.
Nikki's just been amazing out here, working with her. And I don't know if you all know it, we have signed her son for 2033.
Well, there we go. It's official now, Dilbag. You've said it on air. All the best, and we can't wait to come to India next season. Can't wait to get racing underway.
Joyous scenes here on the grid in Seoul at the Olympic Stadium. Hosted the Olympics in 1988. Jack Nicholls wasn't born then, but he is going to give us all the info that we need about qualifying that happened a little bit earlier on.
I am indeed. Hello. Well, it was a big qualifying session for the championship contenders, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stoffel Van Dorn made it through from the group stages. Mitch Evans didn't. And that was the big surprise, really, because yesterday he wasn't happy with the car in the dry. Then it was wet in qualifying, third on the grid. Wet in the race, wins the race, but he hit the wall in the dry. That didn't really, I mean, it was dramatic and you know, nice little crash, but the lap was already gone. And that's the reaction. Phil Charles and James Barkley, the whole crew, he's down in 13th on the grid.
Total disappointment.
Has to win if he wants to win the championship from 13th. I mean, Nicky said it earlier, it's not impossible, but it's barely possible.
He has got form though, hasn't he, of going through traffic in Formula E. He's a very good racing driver.
The lowest that a race has been won this year was from 9th on the grid, which was Mitch Evans in Rome. So it's not impossible, but it's not helped by the fact that Stoffel Van Dorn, the championship leader, not only did it make it through into the duels, he also was through into the quarterfinals, and he starts up at the sharp end of the grid, and that's going to be the difficult part. Is he lost out in the end to Eduardo Mortara, did Stoffel Van Dorn, but he's still up here, and when he only needs to finish in the top 7 to win the championship, he's starting in the top 7. We'll see.
What's he going to do? It's difficult. Yeah. Well, the most interesting thing for me is where he's sat. He's got Jake Dennis, who loves to race. You know, our rookie of the year last year, he loves to race. Edo's got a lot to prove still, and he's in the same drivetrain as Stoffel as well. And we've got Antonio Felix da Costa at the top. I mean,
and it's the last race of the season, so everyone's going to be elbows out. Everyone's got nothing to lose. And like you say, da Costa on pole position in the DS Techeetah. In the final, he just about managed to beat Eduardo Mortara. It was a very, very close fight between them. Well, until the last sector. That's where da Costa managed to pull the advantage, take pole position. When he starts on pole, he tends to win, broadly speaking. He's actually only won one race, not from pole position. But I don't know if they're going to be able to hold off the Venturis. Jake Dennis is a bit unsure as to how far he can finish up the order. Van Dorn's going to be coming forward. You've got Robin Freitz, who's feeling quite aggressive and wants a podium too. So if Van Dorn's in the middle of all this, you never know what could happen.
And also, Jack, throw into the equation that this is the last race we'll be using the Gen 2 cars, because next year we move on to Gen 3. So after this, we don't need these cars. Do what you want with them, lads.
If anybody wants any memorabilia of a Gen 2 car, I think the spares garage this afternoon is going to be the place to go.
Absolutely.
I think you can get anything you want there.
Jack, have a great race. It's always a pleasure, never a chore. Look forward to your commentary a little bit later on. Let's go and find championship leader, a man who I would imagine at this moment in time is quite nervous. Lots of people around him earlier on looking for photographs and wanting to chat to him, and we've got priority. Let me just bring my energy down, Stoffel, because I would imagine that you're getting yourself in the zone. You're at the top of the championship standings. You've got the opportunity today to lift your first ever Formula E World Championship trophy. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, I'm starting in a great position, P4. And yeah, it's a little bit of an emotional race as well. The last one for Mercedes. Still 2 championships to play for, and yeah, really what I'm trying to do is to finish this story on a high.
You guys are so consistent, and it's that consistency that has got you where you are at the top of the championship table. What has been the key to that?
I think I've been able to deal with the tricky moments, and yeah, when the car wasn't 100% there, I've still been able to kind of extract something out of it. I think that's been the key. We've you know, maybe not had the most of highs, let's say, compared to like Jaguar. They won 4 races, but I've been there all the time. I've been on a lot of podiums. I've came close to more race wins, but yeah, ultimately it's the points that count in the end.
Well, there's only been the Mexico race where you haven't scored points, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good, right? So I'll try to keep it that way.
And it's great for the series because you are a fan favourite. You're always at the top of Fan Boost, and it's great to see you challenging for that championship trophy, World Championship trophy. Stoffel, good luck, my friend. Nikki.
So let's have a quick word with the championship protagonist. 21 points behind Stoffel van Dorn. Mitch, I'm sure you're trying to get into the moment before the race gets underway. A tough view ahead of you today. Anything is possible. I mean, should we talk about qualifying first, and then we'll get on to the race? No, do you want to put that one behind you?
I mean, it was not what we wanted. To be honest, yesterday we were just a little bit off in the dry. The weather really saved us today in the dry. We just couldn't really find the pace that we needed. So yeah, as a consequence, we're back in P13. It's not what we needed. It's a tough ask today. So yeah, it's definitely much in Stoffel's hands. Look, I'm going to be trying absolutely everything to come back from the starting position and see what happens. But I know it's going to be a tough task.
But you've been there before in the finale of the race last season. You know, there were technical issues with your car. The same thing could happen to Stoffel, so it's not over yet.
It's not over, you know. As we always say, it's Formula E. It's so unpredictable. But you know, I'll be trying my best. I still have to score big points if I want to win this championship. I still basically have to win the race. So it's still a big ask from this place in the grid. I've won from quite far behind before. So hope we've got the good pace. Try to put our head together, put together a good race car.
Is the car feeling better?
We'll see. Just in the dry conditions, we're just a little bit off in quali pace, but in the race pace, we seem to have a more. We're a little bit stronger. So yeah, let's see what we got today. But I'm feeling good. Just I was up against it anyway, and obviously this has not helped today. But I just want to enjoy it and hopefully finish off on a high.
Yeah, the big 100. You've got to enjoy it. Thanks very much. All the best, Mitch Evans. It's been a pleasure watching you over the course of the season. Vernon, to you.
All right, this is a gentleman, Lucas di Grassi, who's raced in every single Formula E race. And you're a fantastic ambassador for the racing series and everything that it stands for. How do you feel personally about today's race?
For me, it's a privilege to be part of these 8 seasons of Formula E and 2 years before that, so 10 years together with Formula E. We've been pushing the sport, we've been pushing sustainability, electric vehicles. A big thank you for everybody that's also working on the background, building the tracks, more than an ecosystem of 2,000 people. For me, it's an honor to be here on the 100th race, and let's have a very good last dance.
And from everything that you know, everything that you talked about way back when, 2 years prior to the racing series started, where do you see the future of Formula E?
The future is bright. The commercial road vehicles are going to go electric more and more. Formula E is going to be faster. It's going to be it's a big step up for Gen 3. So it's going to change everything for next season, and Formula E will continue to evolve. With more cities, we're going to Brazil next year, so it's going to be an amazing one.
So the party's at your house?
Yeah, definitely. And so yeah, it's just upwards from now then.
All right, good luck today. Great bloke, Lucas de Grassi, does a lot for Formula E. Great public speaker. If you ever get the opportunity, if you're ever at some kind of environmental conference and Lucas is talking, sit in front of him because he just draws you in with everything that he believes Formula E stands for and our goals. Let's see if we can chat to the man on pole, Antonio Felix da Costa. I'm so sorry we're late. You're at the front. You're going to obviously stay in front because you're the man that can do that, but there's a huge fight behind you. What are your thoughts going into this last race, Antonio?
Ideally, we look only forwards. Obviously, got a lot of fast guys behind us, so we'll see, man. We'll see what the race brings.
All right, and it's obviously the last race of the season, which means there's a gala tonight, Antonio, and I know you're always the man first on the dance floor.
Oh, for sure, I'll see you there.
All right, there you go. He loves a shot. Loves a quick drink, does Antonio. Let's see if we can get a chat with Jake Dennis quickly. Jake, I know you've got your lid on, but this is the last race. Really exciting moment. We're not going to use these cars again, so does that mean you're going to go hooning?
I'm going to go hunting, mate. Yeah, it's going to be a mega race, obviously. Last race for everyone this season. Everyone's got a point to prove, so I have as well. We're going to try and get involved with the big boys and, yeah, create a good race.
All right, it's been a joy watching you race this season, my friend. Enjoy Ibiza. All right, Nikki, where are you?
Okay, well, let's have a quick catch-up with British racing driver Dan Ticktum. He got 1 point on the board and had a fantastic qualifying session today in the duels for the first time. How did that feel?
Very special. I think it's finally all come together. Maybe a bit late in the season, you could argue, but yeah, a really rewarding feeling for me and I'm sure the team as well.
And this is obviously the end of the season. It's a big race for you and the team. Can you put some more points on the board?
It's going to be tough, but I'm going to give it everything, like I always do, so yeah.
Is it nerve-wracking seeing sort of, you know, what lies ahead?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, some unbelievable drivers on this grid and obviously some good teams, but I'll just do my best.
Enjoy it, enjoy. And I'm sure whether you're on the podium or not, there'll be champagne for us all. Have a good one, Dan. Thanks.
All right, I'm with James Barclay. James, how are you feeling? Nervous? Excited?
Well, excited. You know, we've got a lot of work to do from here, but we're going to give it maximum attack. You know, nothing to lose. Final race of the season. We need chaos ahead. You know, we need Stoffel to run into trouble. That's the reality. But, you know, you never know in Formula E. Look at what happened last year with us. So that's the plan today. Just give it everything into the last lap.
All right, James, always positive, always pragmatic. We love the way that you have been the spearhead for this team this season. Let's forget what could happen and what couldn't happen. How would you summarise Formula E's 8th season as a whole?
I think it's been epic. I think the qualifying format has meant the racing has been exceptional this year. You've seen a championship come down to the last race with the real protagonists, I think, at the front of this field. You know, Mercedes, Jaguar, and DS really fighting for a world championship. And, you know, Stoffel has driven impeccably this year. Mitch has driven brilliant. He's won more races than anybody this year. So I think we've seen a real breakthrough season. The sporting format's really worked, and Formula E just goes from strength to strength.
All right, James, always a pleasure. Good luck today. Great bloke. All right, Nikki, you're with his rival, his counterpart, I guess, Ian James.
I am indeed. Ian, I just saw you have a final word with Stoffel. Can you share what were your words of wisdom?
Yeah, just to enjoy it. I say that every time to Stoff, but today I want him to really enjoy it. So just to get out there and do what he needs to do, and then let's see what happens by the end of the race.
It was a really nice moment, a good handshake there. Obviously wishing him all the best. Generally, have you seen sort of a change in him at all before the start of this race? Or is he still as cool and calm and collected as he always is before every race?
This whole season, he's just been in the zone, shall we say, and today's no different. So he's cool, he's calm, got a smile on his face, and that's what we need. So I've got every confidence he'll do what's necessary.
Brilliant. Well, Ian James, we do wish you all the very best, and we will catch up with you at the end of the race. Stay cool. Ah, look who it is, Vernon Kay.
Thank you,
Gosh.
Ian James.
You keeping cool?
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's a bit sweaty. I think the conditions are going to test everyone already. The drivers are sweating in their helmets and all their race gear. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting contest. And just speaking to James Barclay, you can tell that fire is still burning bright. They want this championship.
Yeah, I mean, they've had so many basically near misses. I really feel for Jaguar. I really did think that this was their shot. You know, we've seen Mercedes take the spoils before. who doesn't love an underdog? It would have just been, well, I feel like I'm talking as if it's the end of the show. It is not the end. They still are in this fight. You never know what can happen. It would be wonderful to see Mitch Evans climb his way up the grid, but he's gonna need a lot of luck on his side, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we've got a very special track guide now because Dario Franchitti handed a brown envelope to someone at the FIA and they allowed him to get into the Gen 2 car and take it for a ride around this amazing track in Seoul. So here you go, Dario Franchitti in a race suit and a helmet in the Gen 2 car guiding you around this circuit.
So after 4 seasons, today is the last day the Gen 2 car will be used in Formula E. And I've finally persuaded them to let me take it for a spin. So let's go for a lap and find out what the Seoul E-Prix circuit is all about.
All right, here we go. Then the turn 1 track narrows down a bit. On entry, back over to the right, double apex left-hander. Turn 2, 3, 3's probably the tightest corner on the circuit. Up to turn 4, 90 right. Back over to the right for the chicane, 5, 6 in quick succession. Surface change as you go back into the stadium, down the hill, into the stadium now. Turn 8, 9, 10, 11, past the tight road. Up to turn 12, 13's a bit tighter, tightens up. Back to 14, back the other way, wall comes out on it. Airborne 15. And then the circuit completely changes character again through 16. Through 17 over the bumps. 18, here comes a little bit airborne. Heavy braking for 19. Back to throttle. Braking for 20, 21. And then coming up to 22. The last corner. And that is a lap of the Seoul E-Prix circuit.
This track in Seoul, I think it's a fitting swan song for this Generation 2 car because the track's got everything. It's got those tight, twisty, technical sections. It's got those fast sections out on the main roads again, bumps, all those things that we've come to love about Formula E. And watching the Gen 2 car handle it has it's been a lot of fun to experience it today. Let's go racing.
So great to see Dario out in that in the Gen 2 car as Formula E is getting ready to run its 100th race with 2 World Championships on the line, but also race victory on the line and pride on the line for the final time this season at the 2022 Hannah Banks Seoul E-Prix inside this wonderful Olympic Stadium. And Eduardo Mortara will be starting in 2nd place on the grid. He actually won the 50th race in Formula E on the streets of Hong Kong, and how he would love to win here and potentially win Venturi the team's championship title. He's had a nightmare of the last 4 races, he told me on the grid, and he's just looking to end the season on a high. Same is true for Antonio Felix da Costa. They can maybe get 2nd in the team's championship. He's already had a win so far this season as we get ready to go green one more time in 2022.
Crash ahead, be careful.
Push to attack this lap, push to attack this lap.
"99 races ago, Formula E began around the Olympic Stadium of an East Asian capital. And now, 8 years later, for the 100th race in the series, we're set to race around the Olympic Stadium of an East Asian capital. It was Beijing 8 years ago. Today, it is the 2022 Seoul E-Prix, the final round of the season. and 2 World Championships are on the line. Nestled here just to the southeast of the center of the capital of South Korea, and this is how the grid will line up. Alexander Sims has a penalty. He will be at the back of the grid after his crash yesterday. Fenestrad is making his debut. He's starting in 21st place. Oliver Rowland was on pole yesterday. He's 18th today. Takoya Porsche are in a fight for 7th in the team's championship. Berline and Lotterer are 15th and 17th on the grid, which is not ideal for them. Mitch Evans is a championship protagonist. He needs to win today and hope Van Dorn doesn't score, but he's down in 13th on the grid. It's going to be a long, long way for him to try and wrap up the title. Just missing out on the top 10 is Oliver Askew. Then it's Sergio Sette Camera in the Dragon Penske Autosport car. He lines up in 10th on the grid. Just ahead of him is the Nissan Edams of Max Günther. He only has 2 points finishes so far this season. He'll be looking for another to end the year. Jean-Eric Vergne for DS Techeetah is 8th on the grid. The 2-time champion knocked out of title contention yesterday. Dan Ticktum has his best ever qualifying performance. Before this, his best was 13th. He lines up 7th for the Neo 333 team after a very impressive drive. Lucas de Grassi, podium in the last 2 races. He starts 6th on the grid for Rocket Venturi, who are trying to overhaul Mercedes at the top of the championship. Robin France is 5th for the Envision Racing team. Just ahead of him is Stoffel Van Dorn. If he finishes in the top 7 today, he is the Formula E World Champion, no matter what Mitch Evans does. 3rd on the grid, Jake Dennis won in London 2 weeks ago, and he is looking for another victory this afternoon. 2nd on the grid is Eduardo Mortara. He, along with de Grassi, in that fight to try and win the team's championship for Venturi. And on pole position is the DS Techeetah of Antonio Felix da Costa, the Portuguese racer, the champion of season 6. And they too are in a fight for the team's standings. They could get 2nd place, but Mitch Evans is a long, long way back. He was pretty chilled on the grid, saying, I wasn't really in contention coming into this weekend anyway, but it's still going to be frustrating after the high of winning the race yesterday. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me in commentary is the 3-time Indy 500 champion, 4-time IndyCar champion, Dario Franchitti. Long road ahead for Mitch Evans.
Oh, absolutely, Jack. And he's got to have maximum risk today. Just attack any opportunity he can get. Hope the race pace is in that Jaguar car and get up the front and try and win that race. But it's not all home and dry for Stoffel Van Dorn, because the Mercedes guys have got to race. If they want to win the team's championship, which is one that actually pays all the prize money, millions of dollars in prize money, or millions of euros in this case, they have got to race. Because the Venturi and the team are trying to take the top spot from them. Venturi have got to race because DS Techeetah are trying to get to 2nd for them. So much to play for. So many. There's the one big plot, which is the Drivers' World Championship, but so many subplots too.
This is the look around the stadium section. The cars are leaving the dummy grid and making their way now towards the start line. Stoffel Van Dorn, 4th on the grid. Championship-wise, as I say, Van Dorn in the top 7, he is the champion. Evans needs to win and hope that Van Dorn finishes 8th or lower. That's the permutations. Teams championship-wise, it's more complex, but Mercedes EQ lead Venturi by 31 points. But Venturi have cars in 2nd and 6th. Mercedes are in 4th and 12th. So that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye out on. It's then only 13 points back to DS Techeetah behind them. So we'll keep you up to date with all of the standings and the permutations as we go. But aside from that, Dario, everybody just wants to win a race. They just want to win the final race. There's the last race of the season. Yep. There are other championship positions on the line, but it's kind of pride more than anything else, even if you're not involved in the championship fight.
Absolutely right. And there's guys out there, as you said, just the pride of winning a race. Everybody wants to win the race. End the season on a high. They can carry that all the way through to Mexico City next January. But there's drivers just driving for their job today. With this grid, I cannot tell you how different it is going to look next year with drivers in different cars, different teams. Drivers coming in from outside, so there's a lot on the line today, especially for that man there, Ian James. His smartwatch told him earlier that he was stressed, and I don't doubt it. It might have ticked over a little bit onto whatever one above stressed is right now.
2 world championships on the line. Last year, that car, number 17, Nick de Vries, he was the driver's champion. Mercedes EQ were the team's champion as well. Can they repeat that with Van Dorn and the team? Evans is actually behind de Vries on the grid, so that could be an interesting one if they start to get feisty. Van Dorn has pulled up into position. 4th place, looking to win his first championship since the 2014 GP2 Series title, Stoffel Vandoorne, and this would be the biggest championship win of his career.
Very slow coming into up onto the start grid.
Evans doing a burnout in order to get some temperature into those rear tyres so that when the lights go out and they charge down towards turn 1, he can get as good a getaway as possible. Delphine Biscay, team manager at Venturi. You saw from that shot a moment ago that this is Olympic way. The road usually goes both ways, but we've closed one side. You've got the regular traffic on the other side. Alexander Sims is just crawling into position at the back. 45 minutes plus 1 lap of racing about to get underway. 2 world championships on the line. Da Costa is on pole. Mortara is alongside him on the front row of the grid. Vandoorne in 4th could win the championship. And some people are in the wrong places on the grid by the looks of things. Sasha Fenestraz, it looks like Lotter has gone to the wrong side potentially. So they're trying to move around in order to get into position.
He should be behind his teammate, Pascal Wehrlein, in the other Tag Heuer Porsche.
It looks like they are pretty much in position now. Here we go. Da Costa on pole, Mortara alongside him. Vandoorne is 4th on the grid. Evans needs to make his way up from 13th on the grid in order to win the championship. One more time this season. We go green in Seoul. Very good getaway from Da Costa at the front. Moves over, covers the inside line. Jake Dennis in the red and white Andretti goes to the outside of Mortara. They bang wheels a little bit. Someone comes steaming in. That's Gunther on the attack as they go side by side down towards turn 1. Again, Dennis looking to the inside. Gunther is fully on the attack. Up the inside of Degrassi. Tictum gets hit. Lot of contact in the middle there. Everybody in the end makes it through. Tictum gets hit again by Degrassi. Tictum ended up getting into 6th position. Someone almost fed into the wall. Gunther is on an absolute mission, and now he's hit Degrassi. And that is bad, bad news for the Rocket Venturi team, because I think Degrassi, is he still going? He is just about. Now side by side between Evans and Jean-Eric Verne. Those two trying to get through the chicane. They come into the stadium section after a robust opening few corners. Da Costa still leads the way. The top 5 are broken clear. Then it's Tictum. Then it's still Degrassi. And then it is Askew up into 8th. Gunther 9th. Sergio Sette Camera 10th. Max Gunther often full attack. That was extremely full attack.
Stoffel Vandoorne avoided all that. He's still in 4th place, as you say, Jack. The top 4 pulled away. Mitch Evans, 12th position so far. He's made 1 spot up.
Here they come out onto the back straight, and Da Costa is having to cover the inside a little bit from Eduardo Mortara. Through the right-hander of turn 20, and now down into the next right-hander of turn 22. Evans is on the tower on the left-hand side if you want to keep an eye on his progress. Mortara almost getting Da Costa for the lead. Dennis is getting involved in that fight as well. There you can see the gap from all the robust attacking. Verne to the inside, coming into 22. Think he managed to get the move done on Sergio Sette Camera. He did. He's up into 10th place now, Jean-Eric Verne. But Da Costa leads. That's the end of the lap there. And now we're in turns 2, 3 and 4. And again, keep your eye on Mitch Evans, see how much progress he can make on the bottom left, but it is Da Costa leading, Mortara 2nd, Dennis 3rd, Vandoorne 4th, Bryanson 5th. We're on board here with Evans.
And Evans got to be a bit frustrated already. You see the Dragon Penske with damage ahead of him.
Has to win this race, Mitch Evans, and hopes that Vandoorne is 8th or lower.
And he should have a performance advantage on the Dragon Penske ahead of him, but having a performance advantage and getting past, 2 very different things.
Da Costa leading the way. Mortara, that is Vandoorne. That's Dan Tictum, who's now joined the fight in the Neo. 6th place at the moment for Dan Tictum. The only time Neo have scored points this year was in the Rome E-Prix in rainy conditions where barely anyone finished, and then everyone got loads of penalties afterwards.
Mortara all over the back of Da Costa, the watch for making a move. Coming down to turn 2021. See who gets off here well. Da Costa a little bit heavy in the way in. Mortara able to keep it more neat and tidy.
How hard is Da Costa going to fight? He covers the inside. He's pretty keen, and Mortara tries to dummy. Full send. Great move from Mortara, and Dennis might take both of them. Mortara sweeps across, covers the inside, holds the lead of the E-Prix, and now Vandoorne is on the attack to the outside of Da Costa, but he doesn't want to get too muddled up in incidents there. That was a fantastic overtake from Eduardo Mortara.
How late on the brakes was Mortara, and he had to surprise Da Costa because Da Costa was defending heavily. But yeah, going back, you'd have to say right now, Mercedes EQ driver is going to be so careful.
Evans is up into 10th place in
Van
the
Dorn
Jaguar.
stopped. Van Dorn, okay, there's a mistake. I was going to say, I see him.
Yeah, he's disappeared. Look,
Give
on
me
the
a heart
timing
attack
tower,
there.
but he's there. You can see him with his eyes, luckily.
Sorry for the heart attack, Stoffel Van Dorn fans.
The tower on the left has him down in 19th place, but he is still there in 4th position as they come through the left-hander now at turn 16. That's Freins running in 5th position at the moment. We're on board with Freins. He is in 5th because Van Dorn's transponder has stopped working seemingly for the moment.
Evans up to 10th already. Look at the damage to the mirror. Robin Freins' left mirror, something's hit that already.
I think Evans is 11th at the moment. Van Dorn is back in the timing screen now, so we've managed to fix that. But as I say that, Evans gets ahead of Gunter, so he is up into 10th position. This is Nick de Vries on the attack, trying to get past Da Costa. Sorry, Sete Camera. Here's Van Dorn's radio.
Flippy surface, turn 17.
Oh, Tickton pitting. Tickton pitting from 7th place. That's a shame. That's a lunge. That is, and that's a lunge as well. Sete Camera really has got so much damage there, he could do with parking it. Here's a replay of the start. Now watch, it was all pretty even at the front. Max Gunter in the red and black Nissan goes to the inside here and just fully sends it, and then does it at the next few corners as well. And here goes Gunter up the inside of 3 of them.
Yeah, and Gunter caused a lot of that shunt, I would say. Yeah. Like, I mean, 3 into that corner does not go. So tight through there, and you see some damage to the Porsche. Mitch Evans trying to take advantage here, but then it stops in a hurry. He did well not to get more damage to his Jaguar. Some damage to Oliver Askew's and Avalanche Andretti ahead.
Jean-Eric Verne's view. That was ambitious stuff from Gunter. De Grassi was caught in the middle. Gunter still tried to hang it on around the outside. Here we go then. Mortara leading the way. At the moment, Mercedes EQ would win the championship in the teams by 10 points. The Estagita still in 3rd. 39 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis 2nd, Da Costa 3rd, Van Dorn 4th. We're on board with Stoffel Van Dorn in 4th position as we come down towards turn 22 into the right-hander and out across the line to start another lap. I think there's a bit of debris at turn 17. That's why you keep seeing the yellow flag signal pop up, but nobody has stopped out there. Mortara is leading. There's Mitch Evans. He is in 9th place now, so he's made some good progress, but he is 7.4 seconds off Mortara in the lead of the race. And as it stands, Van Dorn would win the Drivers' Championship, and Mitch Evans would finish in 2nd place, some 31 points behind. In fact, Mortara would only be 6 points off the back of Evans, so that's still a fight that Mortara could win if Evans ends up slipping. No, because Evans is in 9th place, so I don't think Mortara can catch him, can he? So Mortara, Dennis, Da Costa, the top 3. Van Dorn winning the championship as it stands. Through the left-hander we go at the Seoul E-Prix.
And the yellow is still being waved at 17. It must be a little bit of debris, as you say,
Yeah,
Jack.
I think it's just there on the right-hand side.
So the group with Mitch Evans in it, they were delayed in that bit of action at turn 1, lap 1, and that's allowed that gap of, as you say, Jack, right now 8 seconds to develop. So Mitch Evans really needs a safety car to bunch the whole field up to make further progress.
He's gained 4 places, Mitch Evans. So has Oliver Askew, so has Pascal Wehrlein. Da Costa's lost 2 off the start because he began on pole position. There is Evans running in 9th position now. Jean-Eric Verne is his next target, but he's got to come through to win the race if he wants to win the World Championship.
And Verne's not going to be an easy guy to pass. The further up the field you get, the harder they are to pass, and that's then you've got to take into account the balance shift as the tyres wear. Whose car works better at the start might not work better at the end. You've got to almost set the car with the front of the car sliding a bit, so as the race goes on and the rear tyres wear out, the car comes into more of a nice balance. And we haven't even talked about attack mode yet.
No, absolutely. So at the moment, they are 10 points back. Robin Freins activates his attack mode then. So you have to use it twice during the course of the E-Prix attack mode. It gives you a 13% power boost for 4 minutes. And as I say, you have to use it twice. Freins goes early. And you use attack mode today to attack, because you don't lose too much ground by activating it. So it's not one of those where you want to get rid of it as soon as possible. It's you want to use it to try and make progress through the order. Just on the teams championship, De Grassi and Van Dorn, at the moment it's 10 points between Mercedes at the top and Venturi in second. So if De Grassi can get ahead of Van Dorn, then that would be enough pretty much to clinch the teams championship for Venturi. But there are a couple of places between them, but there are 36 minutes to go. There is De Grassi, who's quite a long way actually off the back, and he got quite heavily involved in the crunching down at the first corner. Ticktum, Rowland and Lotterer out of the race. There is Evans, who saw his championship hopes disappear at the end of last season after stalling on the grid. Andre Lotterer has been given a drive-through penalty.
Still attack this lap.
So Van Dorn being told, take attack mode on this lap. We'll see what Da Costa does. Freitz is pretty close to the back of him, but you lose about half a second, 6/10 of a second, as they come through the right-hander, and they all go for it, and Freitz gets up alongside, but not able to make the move stick. So Da Costa and Van Dorn both in attack mode now, and Freitz will be in it for a lap less, basically.
So if you're Van Dorn, you're in fourth right now. De Grassi comes up.
Sorry, De Vries is just dropping down the order a little bit.
And a yellow at turn 4.
So Nick De Vries might be in a bit of trouble, and that's not good for Mercedes EQ's championship hopes. And we'll see what happens there. And Verline's out.
Okay.
So Verline's out too.
Do we have a problem with the transponder De Vries as well? He's only got the 14th though.
No, he did a 36.1 in the first sector, lost 6 seconds in sector 1, Nick De Vries. So that has knocked him potentially out of the helping of Mercedes EQ to try and win the team's championship. Mortara, Dennis, Da Costa the top 3, but Da Costa, Van Dorn and Freitz all in attack mode and all right together in that fight for third place. He's crabbing so badly.
Yeah, look
Vries
at
has been in something.
left rear thing. Left rear pointing. Look at it, it's pointing at the wrong angle. Yeah.
So De Vries is done. The reigning champion, and that's not good for the team's championship.
Box this lap. We're going to change the tyre and have a good look at the suspension before releasing you.
Not sure you.
That's super crabby though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. And if that breaks, it's going to be a big old shunt. But that's put more pressure on Stoffel Van Dorn to consider the team's championship as well as obviously his driver's championship.
Here's a look at what happened with. Okay, so Verline and De Vries getting into each other at turn 1, and that's what caused damage to both of the cars. And Verline ultimately pulling off the circuit. Tough day for the Porsche team, and that's actually really good news for Jake Dennis and the Andretti squad. De Vries is in the pits, but if Dennis finishes 5th and neither Porsche score, which it doesn't look like they will, then if you look, Avalanche Andretti, bottom right, will move up to 6th in the team's championship, which is huge for them. Venturi are now just 9 points back from Mercedes EQ in the team's championship, with Van Dorn in 4th, De Grassi in 6th position.
Dorn putting a lot of pressure on Da Costa in the black and gold Tachita ahead of him.
At the moment, Mortara is disappearing. He's 1.8 seconds ahead of Jake Dennis, who's doing very well to hold on ahead of Da Costa in 3rd spot.
Nick De Vries out of the car.
De Vries out of the car and out of the race.
Freitz has put lots of pressure on Van Dorn, isn't he? Just looking for any opening.
He's just run out of attack mode, Robin Freitz in 5th position. Mortara activates his attack mode for the first time. Evans is still running in 9th place and not making much progress. De Grassi activates his attack mode in 6th position. Evans activates his in 9th. So it's only Freitz in the top 9 that is now out of attack mode because he took his a lap earlier than everybody else. As Evans comes through the left-hander.
So De Grassi's got to use that attack mode to close the gap now. Robin Freitz ahead of him. He's 2.5 seconds behind Robin Freitz.
De Vries out of the car. With 32 minutes left on the clock. Mortara leading. Da Costa 3rd, Van Dorn 4th, Freitz in 5th. We've got 32 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the Seoul E-Prix. The final race of the 8th season of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, and at the moment Mitch Evans will not be winning the title. He's down in 9th place and he needs to win if he wants to win the championship. At the moment it's going to go the way of Stoffel Van Dorn in the Mercedes EQ, the number 5 car here.
We have a car stopped, driver's left, turn 4. I'm going to leave that car there and drop the yellow flags. Please be aware that that car is going to stay in that position for the remainder of the race.
So I think that's Verline's car, so it's off the road at turn 4, but it's off at the side of the track, so they're going to remove the yellow flag zone. 31 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis is second. 1.3 seconds between them, but then I'm surprised how, not little pace as we see Mortara and Dennis come through, but how much pressure Da Costa has been under. Freitz is, as soon as Freitz is out of attack mode, he drops back a long way. At lap 10, Van Dorn would win the championship, Evans in second, Mortara in third. Da Costa would be up to 5th in the standings, getting ahead of Lucas Di Grassi. Di Grassi got ahead of Da Costa yesterday. Da Costa would be getting back at him today, but it's Mortara who leads in the black Rocket Venturi down into turn 22.
Di Grassi's, I don't think his race is over yet. I expect, you know, we've seen him work some miracles from the back before, so let's see how much pressure he can put on again with that team's championship to play for. On board with Stoffel van Dorn, driver's eye view. The camera is literally right next to his left eye. Look as he turns through the corner, how difficult it is to actually position the car because of the covers over the front wheels. This is turn 4 where you see the yellow flag, the car parked over to the left. You see on his dashboard as well, actually. Then we'll go back into the stadium, down the ramp. Completely different surface, not very high grip, the surface in the stadium, but lovely and smooth.
You can see the Evans on board on the tower on the left as Chills tries to chase on Jean-Eric Verne. In fact, both of our onboards are trying to get ahead of the DS Techeetah in front.
And the DS Techeetahs are not going to make things difficult or not going to make things easy because they want to finish second in the team's championship. And as you said earlier, Jack, just pride as well. Nobody's given up anything for any other driver out there.
As it stands, Venturi would hold on to seconds in the team's championship and actually close in a little bit on Mercedes at the top, but we've still got a lot of racing to unfold here. Mortara's lead is... Mortara and Dennis are driving away from the field. I'm really surprised at the pace of Da Costa here. Really surprised.
A little bit of a roadblock right now, isn't he, for Van Dorn? But again, Van Dorn's not going to take those big risks that he normally would.
Evans is attacking Jean-Eric Verne here. He's in attack mode. Mitch Evans, he's not close enough. Coming down into turn 22, and he's only got 25 seconds of attack mode remaining.
I don't see from this next part of the lap, with those next 25 seconds, I don't think there's anywhere he can make a move.
Everybody has done their first attack mode activation. And in fact, only Cassidy and Sete Camera are still in attack mode now. And they've all got a second one to use before the end of the E-Prix. Back into the stadium section again. Here comes Evans, doing his best to try and make his way up the order, right on the back of Jean-Eric Verne.
Looks like the back of the Jaguar was sliding a bit through turn 11. That's not great this early in the race. Start overheating those rear tyres. It's very difficult because then it becomes difficult obviously to do a fast lap time, but also difficult to save energy. Then you have to start doing more regeneration, going a bit slower, and it's a vicious circle from there.
And that is one of the things that the teams were most concerned about really this afternoon, is the rear tyres, because of the non-stop right-hander in the stadium section, puts a lot of load through it. De Vries has been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Pascal Wehrlein, but obviously De Vries is out of the race, so that won't affect him too much. Wehrlein out of the race also. 28 minutes plus 1 lap to go. As you can see, Sims and Turvey have still got their 2 attack modes to use. Everybody else just has 1 left. So Van Dorn was on the back of Da Costa and still is. Freitz was on the back of the both of them, but he's dropped back a little now.
Yeah, Di Grassi hasn't really caught Robin Freitz too much. I'm kind of surprised about that. But shout out to Oliver Askew and the Avalanche Andretti. 7th place at the moment for him. That's good news.
Yeah, it's been a huge haul of points for Andretti in the final few races. To get ahead of Porsche is a phenomenal achievement if they do manage to pull it off. Here comes Da Costa and Van Dorn still fighting over 3rd place. These two also getting on fairly well, as here comes Da Costa and Van Dorn through the left-hander of turn 16 and out onto the back straight.
Mortara just continues to drive away.
Yeah.
0.2 of a second that lap again, just metronomic in his precision. And
well, that's 0.2 on Dennis. and then Dennis is 2/10 on De Costa and Van Dorn.
Yeah, Van Dorn looks like he's setting up, but he's just not quite close enough. Antonio Felix Da Costa in the black and gold Techeetah is just very good at a turn 19. What have you spotted, Jack?
Askew's got Degrassi. Askew now is ahead of Degrassi. Degrassi drops down to 7th position, and has Degrassi got trouble here? I think he does. He's pulling over to the right-hand side. Verne is to the outside, and Degrassi is out.
Huge championship implications for the team's championship. Massive.
Degrassi out of the running as he returns to the pit lane. He's got a puncture. Degrassi has a puncture and returns to the pits. Comes into the pit lane now. They'll change whichever. It's the front right puncture. Is it? They're waiting before they change it. At the moment, you can see that the gap at the championship top would go up to 16 points. And so with Van Dorn in 4th, I think that's kind of insurmountable, really, for the Venturi team if Degrassi is out of the running.
Absolutely. That's their total right now. They're in the best position with one car, and the other car's not scoring points today.
Front right puncture for Lucas Degrassi has eliminated him from the running. So that means that the 31-point advantage is insurmountable if Degrassi is not running. So that would give Mercedes EQ that advantage. But now, I wonder if that would bring DS Techeetah into the fight for second place.
Jack has his calculator out, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Worrying time.
There through attack mode goes Sasha Fenestraz, who's making his debut in Formula E this weekend because Antonio Giovinazzi hurt his hand yesterday and as a result is replaced by Sasha Fenestraz for this race. But Van Dorn it is, who's in 4th position, who would win the championship as it stands because Evans is down in, well, 8th place now. So he's gained a place in all of that, Mitch Evans, because of Degrassi coming in to repair his puncture. And De Costa and Van Dorn still right together.
Yeah, and Evans used the second attack mode. He's going to have to use it to his benefit, though, and try and get past Jean-Eric Verne. It's just not happened so far.
So, DS Techeetah, yeah, so they're still not really close enough to stop Rocket Venturi at the moment. That 3rd and 7th place is not quite enough to get to Mortara.
Neither car looks particularly sporty right now. They're both under pressure, aren't they? Da Costa's under pressure from Van Dorn.
Oh, Gunter is the next retirement.
Doing a great job, mate. Keep looking after them rears.
Those rear tyres is the message from Stephen Lane. This could throw a spanner in the works, though, because he's pulled off at the side of the circuit here, Max Gunter, and the safety car is deployed. Safety car deployed.
This is huge. I thought it was going to be full course yellow. This is huge. This bunches the field back up. If it's full course yellow, they all keep to the same speed and keep the gaps they had. This is massive.
And Evans is going to lose 2 minutes of attack mode, though, in his second attack mode. So it'll help him by bunching the field up, but he's going to lose the time that he's got in attack mode at the extra power. So that's a bit of frustration for Mitch Evans, but it will bunch the field back up a little bit. And all that advantage that Mortara and Dennis had built up at the front is going to disappear. But energy-wise, they're doing great. Mortara 54% and out the front. Here's Gunter's replay, and the front right's broken.
Yeah, he's hit. I think he's hit something earlier. Maybe it was one of the earlier laps and it finally failed. Yeah, something's caused that.
Yeah, had a robust opening few laps, Max Gunter.
Let's respect the marshals on track there between turn 19.
The voice of Scott Elkins, race director.
Scott Elkins, the race director. They're going to push Gunter, well, they're going to scrape him along the wall because he can't steer. So that's a frustration. They're also going to get rid of Verline's car as well, as we're under safety car. Max Gunter, they're trying to recover the car. The Nissan driver out of the running. Only 2 points finishes so far this season. Here's where we're at Drivers' Championship-wise. Van Dorn would win the championship. Evans and Mortara would be 2nd and 3rd. And De Costa and Dennis would both get ahead of Lucas Degrassi. So Jake Dennis would be up into 6th place. Mortara finished last season 2nd in the standings, didn't he? I believe. It's interesting how it's kind of similar front runners to last year. Last year it was Mortara 2nd, Dennis 3rd, Evans 4th.
We've had a new qualifying format this year, which has been a great success, and it's meant that the fastest guys have been up the front and racing each other every week, so therefore they've scored a lot more points. And those days we had last year, a lot of times the championship contenders were outside the top 10. This year, if you want to win the championship,
just make sure we stay within 10 car lengths.
If you want to win the championship, you've got to score big points. Yeah, part of the rules, you've got to stay within 10 car lengths of the car in front under safety car. The last thing Stoffel Van Dorn in that Mercedes EQ needs is a penalty right now.
So it looks as though they were looking to just wheel Gunter's car back, but with the broken steering, they're actually not able to push it back. So I think they're going to have to recover both of those cars. And difficult day for Max Gunter. He went full attack in the early stages, as he often does, and whether it was that or a different incident, he is out of the race now. There's a bit of debris. That was the debris at turn 17 that we saw on occasion as well. Van Dorn is being told on the radio by his team that they think Da Costa was saving his tyres, and that's why he was sort of running at that kind of pace, which is quite interesting. But we'll see. Mortara out in front. Dennis Da Costa the top three. Is this going to help everybody's tyres because the temperatures come back down? Because is it temperature rather than wear?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the tyre wear is not a concern, really. You'll see them at the end of a race that there's not much tread left, but that doesn't affect performance. It's just pure temperature. And yeah, this will be lovely for the tyres. Just give them a little break. We're going to add time to the race, though.
Yeah.
It's not like this is all, the race, I think, as we run under safety car, time will be added back to the race. But yeah, it's usual story with the safety car. Helped a couple of guys out. Just looking at the back, sorry, of the Jaguar, Mitch Evans. Looks like the diffuser in the back of the car is moving around a little bit.
Well, he was involved in a real sandwich up at the front, wasn't he, in that opening lap? This is the 100th Formula E race, the first happening in September 2014 in Beijing, which Lucas Di Grassi won, and he's not going to finish this one. The 50th race was in Hong Kong, which Eduardo Mortara won, and now the 100th race here in Seoul looks to be Mortara's in the box seat at the moment. I'm not giving him the trophy.
But that
Gunter frustrated.
The point about Da Costa saving his tyres, we've seen when the tyre does go off, it doesn't happen sort of gradually. You get a little wear and then boom, it's gone and the car starts sliding around. Same thing with the battery temperature. When it gets close and when it eventually you get too hot, you're done. And you go backwards in a hurry.
So frustrating for Jake Dennis, I think, this safety car, because he built up a very big gap up the front. Mortara is in the Venturi, which is a Mercedes powertrain, which is probably the best car in the field, whereas Dennis is, and here's the Fan Boost Awards, they all get a 5-second power boost in the second half of the race. Mortara, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Evans and Di Grassi. But my point was going to be...
the efficiency of the Andretti.
Yes, the efficiency of the Andretti has been a bit tricky at points this year, so Dennis now might be under a bit more pressure than he would have been otherwise now that the safety car has been deployed. But he might run absolutely fine also.
Yeah, depending if Da Costa now thinks, because we're past halfway in the race, he thinks, okay, I'm saving my tyres, time to attack. Then, yeah, I think Jake Dennis is going to have his mirrors full of a black and gold Techeetah that's pushing along with his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne to get up to second in the team's championship.
Van Dorn, Evans, Mortara, the top three, and it would be Van Dorn who wins the championship for Mercedes EQ. Vergne and Da Costa separated by just a few points, and Dennis up into 6th place. Da Costa would drop, Di Grassi would drop down the order, and Evans running around in 8th position at the moment.
Evans opening his visor, trying to get some cool air in there.
Very humid.
That's an
South
understatement.
Korea, fairly humid. I've been in the aircon for, what, 25 minutes now?
34.
No, more than that. Yeah, I've been in the aircon for 34 minutes and my shirt is still sopping wet. So stay tuned if you want to see that on camera after the end of the race. Teams championship-wise, Mercedes EQ at the top, and they would win the teams championship as well. Venturi second, DS Techeetah third. Avalanche Andretti would be up to 6th. They only need to outscore Porsche by 10 points to do that. So a 5th place with Porsche scoring no points would be all that was required. but they've got Askew in 6th and Dennis in 2nd, so a really strong performance from Avalanche Andretti. Teams Championship still up for grabs. If Van Dorn were to, well, it's more Venturi and DS Techeetah, because that points advantage for Mercedes is now insurmountable, because Di Grassi he's not out of the race. He's there in 14th, but
this has also helped him because he stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's true. So he's not completely out of the running, Di Grassi. So the Teams Championship is not completely over because he's still out there.
But that 31-point lead they have, that would require Stoffel Van Dorn not to finish, obviously. De Vries is already out of the running.
That's the thing. They would need Di Grassi to get up into about 6th or 7th position, and then Van Dorn not to finish if Venturi want to win the Teams Championship. As they come down the back straight, safety car still out. You can see Porsche would drop down to 7th position. Penske would pick up another point with Sete Camera running in 10th place. Here's Van Dorn's radio.
We're happy for you to use that boost if you see an opportunity.
Plenty of action here in the Jamshil Sports Complex. That's the baseball stadium there on the left-hand side, home to the LG Twins and the Doosan Bears. They play in the KBO League of Korean baseball. 15 minutes plus 1 lap remaining, but time will get extended. The race will get extended when the safety car comes in at the end of the race. We'll go into added time. Mortara still leading. Dennis, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Freitz, the top 5.
And added time, 45 seconds for every minute under safety car. Safety car in this lap, so all of a sudden the drivers are thinking, right, get the tyres clean, get the brakes back up to temperature, use a little bit of energy, get ready to go.
Here we go then. Mortara in the lead. Dennis in 2nd position. Lights off on the Porsche safety car. Mortara, Da Costa, Van Dorn all have fan boost to use. Jake Dennis doesn't, in 2nd place. And how will Mortara run this restart as well? I think he's gonna, I thought he might be going quite early then, Mortara, but decides against it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Down into turn 22.
That would be early.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're only at 20, aren't we? Apologies. So that's why he's let the safety car go. Weaving from left to right. There will be added time.
Green flag.
In 8th place. Mortara weaving.
Guys,
they come down towards turn 22.
When is part of the track, the guy's waving the green flag. He's gone.
There goes Mortara. Foot to the floor. Gets the racing back underway. 13 minutes plus a lap to go, plus whatever added time we have. And it'll be Mortara leading, Dennis 2nd, Da Costa 3rd, 4th is Van Dorn, 5th is Freitz, 6th is Askew, 7th is Verne, 8th is Evans, 9th is Cassidy, 10th is Sergio Sete Camera.
Nothing doing into turn 1, everybody sort of playing nice at the moment. You see Mitch Evans, same thing, he's still stuck in that 8th position.
They're on board with Evans on the tower on the left-hand side. Mortara has got a great little getaway, hasn't he? And pulled about 7/10 of a second on Jake Dennis in 2nd position. And it goes straight into attack mode, as does Da Costa. Van Dorn trying to stick it around the outside, can't get it done. So that was the plan for Mortara and the Venturi team. And Mortara has activated his attack mode. Now is Da Costa going to be close enough to attack Jake Dennis here? He's very, very close as they come through turn 18. Big chance here for Da Costa to get 2nd place.
I think Jack, if he's going to do it, it's going to be coming out of so that's 19 up to double right-hander 2021. You can see Da Costa looking, but I think it's going to be on the brakes into 22 this next corner. So Da Costa's got to get off here, turn 21 well, and set up for the pass.
Battle for 2nd. Da Costa to the outside. Dennis leaves his nose in. A bit of a touch, and where's Da Costa gone? Has Da Costa fully gone off?
I think he has.
Da Costa's fully gone off. Dennis only gave him a tiny touch, but enough to send Da Costa all the way to the back of the field. And that's going to be so frustrating for DS Techeetah. Dennis in 2nd place. He might potentially be getting a penalty for that as well. Mortara leads, Dennis 2nd, Van Dorn now is up into 3rd spot.
Yeah, we need to see that one again, don't we? That was didn't look that bad. It just looked both leaning on each other, but unless we didn't see something off camera there, because that was the result was huge.
All that means Mortara pulls the lead. Dennis gets into his attack mode now. So he's in second place. Van Dorn in third, Freitz in fourth. Here's a look at it again. So Da Costa goes to the outside, and Dennis basically tries to defend and keep his nose there, and Da Costa...
So far, so good. Bit of a... Oh, he got a slide on, over and corrected to the left, and then couldn't get the lock off.
Yeah, well, he got the slide because of the hit.
But yeah, I understand, but watch the steering. So steering goes in, goes to the left.
Yeah.
Can't get it.
I was more than happy to give up the corner. He just left me no space.
I mean, Dennis, that's a tough one. Because Dennis really got squeezed there, honestly.
Yeah, that was a hard penalty. You see Sergio Senti Cameron, the red and white dragon, got some damage.
He's had that since lap one when he went up the back of whoever was in front of him. I can't even remember, it was so long ago.
Still on the points.
Yeah.
Up to ninth.
Has he just overtaken Buemi?
Buemi was behind him earlier. No, Buemi's been behind him.
Because it's Da Costa,
Yeah.
that's how he's got him in the ninth place. 10.5 minutes plus a lap to go, but there will be added time at the end as well. Dennis is in attack mode. Van Dorn in third, Freitz in fourth, Askew in fifth, Verne in sixth. The Da Costa-Dennis incident is under investigation. It's tough because Da Costa was the one making the overtake around the outside. Van Dorn into attack mode now, stays ahead of Robin Freitz.
I hate to say it's a racing incident, but that's a tough one.
I think racing incidents...
Yeah. As I say, the problem was that Da Costa had all this left lock on to correct the slide from that contact. Couldn't get the lock off quickly enough when the car sort of bit and turned left on him.
Yeah, really tough on that. 10 minutes plus 1 lap to go, plus added time. Van Dorn in third, Freitz in fourth, Askew in fifth. We'll see whether...
Evans in the background, Jack seventh place, all over the back of Jean-Eric Verne in the black and gold Techeetah.
Evans has used his second attack mode as they come across the line now. Van Dorn would still win the championship by 30 points ahead of Mitch Evans. Evans still needs to climb up the field and win the race and hope that Van Dorn fails to finish, but with not that long to go, it's looking less and less doable, and Van Dorn is running in third position at the moment.
It's not easy, you can see, just catching a snap of oversteer, and the walls are there. There's no room for error. None, you know, Stoffel Van Dorn could be lead the race. There's absolutely the slightest error, and it is all over. That's obviously the same for everybody out there. It's such a difficult thing these guys are doing, bouncing over all the different bumps, the surface changes.
Verne into his second attack mode. And manages to just about keep ahead of Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy, who's now up into 8th position. Evans running there in 7th spot. There goes Dennis, there goes Van Dorn, there goes Freitz. And there's the championship as it stands. Dennis would get up into 5th place because Da Costa would be shuffled down after that collision. De Grassi would be back up into 6th position. Come down into turn 20. There's a look at the Jamsil Sports Complex, a really great venue for this race here in Seoul. First ever Formula E race in South Korea, and the final race of the year. And at the moment, Stoffel Van Dorn would be ending it as champion.
Energy figures. Sidney's got the most, but up front, all very similar.
Verne's a little low compared to everybody else. Freitz is probably the most, but broadly speaking, they are pretty similar. And Eduardo Mortara, I mean, he was telling me on the grid, the last 4 races have just been a disaster, basically.
Yeah, they have.
And he just wants to end the season on a high. Last 5 races, actually, for Mortara have been a disaster.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to make amends a bit for yesterday. It was kind of the architect of his own destruction yesterday, with heavy defending from Jean-Eric Verne, and basically pulled across the front of Jean-Eric Verne when Verne was lunging down the inside, kept moving on the brakes, and Verne had nowhere to go. Created a puncture for Mortara, but Mortara is more than making up for it today with this just phenomenal drive.
Freitz and Askew both activate their second attack mode, and so they're still running in 4th and 5th places. Evans is really close to the back of Jean-Eric Verne, even though he's not in attack mode, but he doesn't have a attack mode, so you can see in a straight line speed, Verne is able to pull away. Cassidy might be on the attack here. No, he's not quite close enough. The two New Zealanders who grew up racing together at Manfield and places like that.
Everything's good, so no risks.
Everything's good, so no risks is the message to Stoffel Vandoorne. 6.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
That's good, clear, concise information from the engineer. It cannot be misinterpreted.
Vandoorne out of his attack mode, but France is 2 seconds behind him. We're on board with Verne, looking back at Mitch Evans.
Look how close Mitch Evans is getting to those apex walls, just trying to get every mile an hour of speed out of that Jaguar car.
6 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis is second, Vandoorne is third. Running very nicely up at the front, the top three. France in fourth, as you can see, a couple of seconds further back. Vandoorne would win the championship as it stands by 30 points over Mitch Evans in what has been an incredibly consistent season for the Belgian driver. And for my money, he was driver of the season last season, but he finished nowhere near the top of the championship. And now he's had another great year, but this time getting the points and the rewards.
If he can bring this one home, absolutely, driver of the season. He's massive. You know, he would just fully deserve the Formula E World Championship. I'd argue last year, I think Mitch Evans, you know, had done a tremendous job too. This year, though, Stoffel Vandoorne, he's been, you know, the win in Monaco was fantastic, but he's made the most every weekend of what he had. He's going to make the most of this weekend. He's going to make the most of today, though. Keep the thing between the walls.
Teams championship at the moment, Mercedes EQ on 316 points. Venturi would finish second with Techeetah third. Avalanche Andretti would be up into 6th place in the standings as they come over the crest and then into the left-hander at turn 16. Vandoorne continuing to chase Dennis. Mortara's just disappeared again. This performance from Mortara has just been absolutely superb. Dominant performance from the Italian-Swiss racer as he comes down into turn number 22 and then out through turn 1 again. Love that wall shot. But Mortara leads. Then it is Jake Dennis in second in the red and white Andretti. Third is Stoffel Vandoorne in the silver Mercedes EQ. The green car is Robin Freitz in fourth. Oliver Askew in fifth for the Andretti team. And then it is Verne, Evans and Cassidy, Buemi, and that's Sete Camera running in 10th place. De Grassi has managed to recover up into 13th place. Now, another 6 minutes and 45 seconds of added time. Because of the time spent behind the safety car, we've got another 6 minutes and 45 seconds once the clock ticks down to 0. Plus 1 lap then. So still a long way to go. Nato and Sete Camera, it's under investigation. Multiple changes of direction at turn 1, so that'll be for Sete Camera's defensive manoeuvres, for which he's come under a lot of heat so far this season.
Yeah, we've seen that video before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Again, energy figures all looking very similar up at the sharp end.
If anything, Sete Camera looks a little lower than people, and Sims has got quite a bit. Turvey activates his second attack mode. Sims is in 12th place, you know. He's not actually too far away from getting some points, which would be quite a performance, having started at the back of the grid and having had a drive-through penalty for changing parts.
He had a 60-place penalty today.
Yeah.
That's what he was given for changing the parts after his crash yesterday. He had a horrendous day yesterday. It'd be lovely to see him get some points today in his Formula E swan song. Evans still not able to pass Jean-Eric Verne ahead of him. Sete Camera still in the points with that half of a Dragon Penske that's left.
Simsy's got a lot of energy. Oh, De Costa almost into the back of De Grassi. De Costa's got a lot more energy actually than De Grassi, so that fight will be interesting for 13th. Not that it really, I say it'll be interesting, not that it really necessarily means anything.
It'll just be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think De Grassi might have used a lot of energy catching back up to the pack after the pit stop.
Sims as Nato and Sete Camera in his sights. Here's a look at De Costa and De Grassi. Oh, so close.
Yeah, De Costa was bailing out of that one. He thought, oh, I'm going to hit him, but did a good job of getting it all back under control. Oh, and now the onboard.
Whoa!
You could just see the tyres lock as they came off the brakes, trying to unlock them. No such problem for Edo Mortara.
Cassidy, DaCosta and Verne are under investigation for safety car procedure, so we'll keep an eye on that one. None of them are really in that much of a fight. Verne's in sixth.
We leave some energy in the car.
Whiskey, India, Mike, November.
Yeah, that's energy figures. He's repeating back to in a code back to the pits, Edo Mortara there. But you heard the engineer just telling him, leave a little bit of energy in the car, just in case.
3.2 seconds ahead. Here's Mitch Evans running in 7th position. He's had a good drive, Mitch Evans, from 13th up into 7th. Sims has got Nato now, and his next target will be Sergio Sede Camera to try and get into 10th place to pick up a point for Mahindra, as Dennis and Van Dorn in 2nd and 3rd come back into the stadium section once more.
Yeah, just watching that onboard with Mitch Evans, it looks like he is fighting the back tyres of the car. Every time he was sort of in the corner entry, he'd have to catch a bit of oversteer, back to throttle. The car was rotating a little bit too much, so maybe just the setup not allowing him to look after those rear tyres.
20 seconds plus a lap to go. 5-second time penalty for Jake Dennis for causing a collision with Antonio Felix da Costa at turn 22. The tough one.
That is a tough penalty. I mean, the amount of contact you see in a Formula E race, and I think the contact was almost incidental. But if you're Antonio Felix da Costa, I'm sure you would see things the other way.
Added time has now been, well, added. So we've got 6 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock plus a lap.
A lock up there from Stoffel Van Dorn going into turn 22.
So at the moment, 5 seconds for Dennis would put him 8th.
What does that do to Teams Championship?
And here comes da Costa on Nato. And Turvey, hey, that's a cheeky one.
Oh.
Gets it through, Oliver Turvey.
Opportunistic or what from Oliver Turvey in the blue and red and blue Neo.
That looked like a one-way ticket to Crashtown initially, but he managed to sneak through on the inside. So that would drop Evans, that would push Evans up into 6th place, but it wouldn't make a huge amount of difference in the championship fight. But I don't know. I see why they've given it, because there was contact, but I don't know, not for me. This was da Costa's move on Nato.
Lovely overtaken move there from da Costa. Yeah, I think if you could say there was no contact in a Formula E race, you'd say, yeah, okay, that's a fair penalty. But the fact is, every corner.
Well, also, da Costa was the one making the overtake. Dennis is allowed to cover the inside, and he's got to be given some space. I don't know. I get that he left his nose in a little bit, but
it wasn't like he missed the apex. He was on the apex.
Yeah, there is. I believe there is such a thing as a racing incident.
Yeah, personally. I do, and I hate to sort of. It's almost like a cop out with that. I think with Dennis was on the apex of the corner.
I think racing incident isn't a cop out. I think it is. I think it is a decision.
Sometimes it actually is.
Yeah, 5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis in 2nd, Van Dorn 3rd, Freitz 4th, Askew 5th. Verne, Evans, Cassidy, Buemi and Sete Camera, the rest of the top 10. Sims is closing in on Sete Camera. He took 4 tenths out of him on the last lap.
And Sims is using that extra energy that he had in the bank. He's really ripping through it now. He's almost at level with those around about him, where he's 4% up, which is it's over a lap.
Now here's a look at it again. The penalty for Dennis. To me, da Costa goes to the outside, and that's fine. And da Costa's Dennis, he's getting overtaken, so he's allowed to stay in there, and then he's just given nowhere to. He's right up on the curb.
Dennis was.
He can't just disappear.
All right, I hate. Yeah, again, Jack. I hate to say it. I agree with you. Now watch the right front.
Where's he meant?
The car we're running on.
Where's he meant to go?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
You know, it's the corner's tight.
Yeah.
But I think the problem was, as I said, that da Costa had left-hand lock on to catch the slide, and then the car put him in the wall. So harsh penalty for Jake Dennis, but we're not the ones making the rules.
No. So Dennis running in 2nd place now. This would drop him down to. Well, if he got it now, he would be 7.5 seconds back, so he'd come out in 6th place.
He's pushing hard now, isn't he? Jake Dennis 23-1, he's really going for it. But Edo Mortara's just gone 4/10 quicker on that lap. Mortara is using a different track than everybody else today.
He used fan boost on that last lap, which would give him a bit of a boost in the first sector, but still rapid pace here from Mortara. 2.5 seconds clear, 3 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap to go.
Just a mighty performance. He's just on it today, Edo Mortara.
Van Dorn would win the championship as it stands with what would ultimately be a second place finish with Freitz in third. And Stoffel Van Dorn now just 3 minutes plus 1 lap away from winning the Formula E World Championship after a hard-fought season.
Longest 3 minutes of his life. That's when you can start hearing all the noises.
This is how the team's championship would finish. Mercedes EQ champions in both categories again. De Costa's just got ahead of Alexander Sims, and this is how. Oh, De Grassi got ahead of Sims, and then De Costa yoinked it up the inside as well.
And Sims have an issue because again he was coming forward in a hurry, and he's gone from 11th back to 13th quickly.
Yeah, he lost 2 seconds in the middle sector, but that was probably just being overtaken. Yeah. Evans is on his
De Costa
fan
all over the back of De Grassi.
Goes to the inside, De Costa. Through he goes.
He's really good on the brakes. Everybody else is struggling to make any kind of overlap on the brakes into 22. Not so much Antonio Felix Da Costa.
Well, brakes is the thing he wants confidence in the most, and I'm led to believe that he kind of swapped his brake discs around this morning. They put a new set on, and he said, okay, but I'll keep one side of the front disc and not the other side. I'll have the front left back from yesterday, or really picking and choosing exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, Mitch Evans did the same. They changed brakes this morning and then went back for qualifying. Such a feel thing with the brake pedal. If you don't have confidence in the brakes, you can't make the overtake, but also the rest of the corner is an adventure for you. So you've got to get the braking right.
1.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Eduardo Mortara
on board with Oliver Askew. P5 at the moment, maybe even P4 for him. This is a great drive for Askew, who's looking for, I believe, looking for a drive for next year. He certainly hasn't been confirmed by the Andretti team, put it that way.
2 to go at the end of this lap. And Freitz is under quite a bit of pressure here, isn't he?
He is, as Askew locks up, goes a bit wide on the exit 22.
2.3.
That's Van Dorn being told Dennis is 2.3 seconds ahead. Freitz is 2.3 seconds back with 45 seconds plus 1 lap to go. And Dennis is really trying to build that advantage, isn't he? Sergio Sedi Camera is another driver who's been given a time penalty for repeated changes of direction at turn 1 with Norman Nato. As the championship stands, Van Dorn would win the championship. Dennis probably wouldn't get up to 5th after the 5-second time penalty is awarded. As Van Dorn emerges once again. Turned 30 this year, Stoffel Van Dorn, and really has put in a masterful season. And is Ian James about to secure back-to-back titles in back-to-back years?
I think Ian James has aged 30 years in the last day and a half.
He doesn't look that bad.
I'm not saying visually, just with a stress level.
Very rude, Dario. James Barkley, the boss of the Jaguar TCS racing team, has seen his man climb up through the field, but not able to make as much progress as they would have wanted and would have loved in order to wrap up the title, because Van Dorn would win it. Evans second, Mortara in 3rd spot. Final lap of the race now for Stoffel Van Dorn, and it looks as though it'll be a 2nd place finish at the end of this. Dennis might be able to get on the podium still here. He might only lose 1 place because he's managed to, the gap to Robin Freitz right now is 4.9 seconds. So that's going to be a tight one to see who gets 3rd position. At the moment, it would be Mortara winning, Van Dorn 2nd, Dennis 3rd. But all of that is irrelevant. 3rd or 2nd doesn't matter for Stoffel Van Dorn. Scored points in every race so far this season, bar Mexico City, where a collision sent him spinning out. Won the iconic Monaco race in superb style earlier this year. And now the Belgian only has a few more corners to go. Edoardo Mortara is going to be the man who wins for the Rocket Venturi team. Here comes the Italian-Swiss racer. He's about to win for the 4th time this season. Superb drive from Mortara. He wins for the 4th time this year, but it's Stoffel Vandoorne out of the final corner. Stoffel Vandoorne is the world champion. Vandoorne wins for Mercedes EQ, and they wrap up the team's championship. Double championship victory for Mercedes EQ. They won it last year with Nick de Vries, the drivers.
Well done, champ.
Yes, boys. World champion! Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Vandoorne told me on Thursday this would be the biggest championship win of his life. And he's come through and delivered it on Sunday in Seoul.
Okay, attention all teams, this is race control. Just like yesterday, I'd like the top 3 cars, car 4-8, car 5, and car 2-7, to take an extra lap and then go into the infield and take a right at turn 9 for the podium. So one more lap.
Stoffel, it's Dario on TV. Congratulations, you are a world champion.
Thanks, Dario. Wow, I'm speechless. This is amazing. What a season it's been. Thank you, guys.
Well done to you. Well done to the Mercedes EQ team. So well deserved.
Stoffel Vandoorne, the world champion. Mercedes EQ, the team's champions again.
What a way to sign off from Formula E for Mercedes.
Mercedes next year becoming McLaren, with Maserati joining the series as well for season 9 and the brand new generation of Formula E car. But Danke Mercedes is the message on the top of Vandoorne's helmet. And here comes Mitch Evans pulling up alongside Stoffel Vandoorne, gives him a thumbs up and a round of applause. Oh, thought they were going to shunt for a moment, which would have been a fun way to end the year. But that's great to see, great camaraderie between them. Great year for Venturi, a great win for Venturi as well. That's Cyril Blaise, who was just having a little chat with Delphine Biscay as they see Edoardo Mortara win again. 4th win of the season, the driver with the most wins this year, Edoardo Mortara. But he's also had 5 races where he hasn't scored points, and there is the disappointment at Jaguar. Unable to bring home the title for Mitch Evans. And it was a long shot coming into the weekend.
3 race wins. They put up a heck of a fight, didn't they?
2 in Rome, a win yesterday. Nick de Vries out of the race early on, and he's contributed to the team's championship title.
Nice that the driver's got another lap. I know it was all just for sort of logistical purposes, but give Stoffel Vandoorne a chance to really just soak it all in a little bit before he goes up onto the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. What are those in-laps like when you've won a championship?
I admit to having, certainly a couple of times, having a big emotional moment, bit of some tears.
Yeah.
And then it's a feeling of such elation, I think, and just, yeah, all the things that go through your head. It's really incredible. I always found it was too much to take in what was going on.
Like overwhelming?
And, yeah, just completely overwhelming, and then it would sort of hit you weeks and sometimes months later. I think I said to you before, I remember being in the Outback riding a motorbike. That's when it finally hit me.
Yeah. Remarkable stuff.
It's just fantastic. Such tight competition in Formula E, so just to come out and win the World Championship, it's a heck of an achievement.
2nd in the opening race of the season in Diriyah, 7th in the 2nd race for Vandoorne, and then spun out in Mexico City. Solid weekend in Rome. He was disappointed actually with both races in Rome, finishing 3rd and 5th. But then the win in Monaco started a great run of form, with then 2 third places in Berlin, held the championship lead Then maybe a bit of a dodgy-ish patch. 5th in Jakarta, 8th in Marrakesh, but a 2nd place in New York, 2nd place in London, and a 2nd place here as well. Fair play, Jake Dennis. 5-second time penalty, but still managed to pull out enough of a gap to finish on the podium as the cars now come onto the 100-meter sprint line of the 1988 Seoul Olympics.
Which is a really cool piece of history in itself.
Yeah, there it is. And Van Dorn waving to the crowd.
Mortara just did a lovely spin turn. To his own parking spot.
Yeah, perfect. Can't be doing burnouts on the 100 meters.
Yeah, that would be disrespectful. Mortara's not the best at parking, is he? But I tell you what, he can drive a racing car.
Dennis straight over to congratulate Stoffel Van Dorn. Mortara the race winner. And ends up 3rd in the championship. But Stoffel Van Dorn, world champion in Formula E. Agag, the founder of Formula E. Over for a celebration. You can do anything, Stoffel Van Dorn.
You can be able to take that hand luggage. Yeah.
And when the team arrive, it is going to kick off on the podium. There's no doubt about that. Here they are. Speaking to a mechanic the other day who said the amount of times he's been smashed in the head by a driver with their helmet still on really hurts, apparently. And the drivers jump into the crowd. Dennis looks warm.
I think it'll be a physical race today, as humid as it was.
Dennis did get up into 6th in the championship, then level on points with Lucas de Grassi, but Van Dorn is the champion. Evans in 2nd, Mortara 3rd, Verne in 4th. And once, as I say, once the Mercedes EQ team make their way to the pit lane, it's going to be very, very busy. And a lot of celebrations, I think, will commence tonight for Stoffel Van Dorn.
I think the relief right now is probably the first thing, isn't it? He's been, he's had that frown on his forehead, just concentrating, just a little stressed.
Teams Championship, Mercedes EQ, the winners there as well. Great year for Rocket Venturi Racing, finishing in 2nd. Fiesta Cheetah 3rd, Andretti up into 6th place at the end. Thanks to Dennis's great run of form, but also Oliver Askew, really getting into the swing of things towards the end.
Nice 5th place finish for him here today.
Van Dorn will be receiving the championship trophy later on the podium. And then the prize giving tonight as well.
As hosted by Jack Nicholls.
Yeah.
I'll come and laugh at your jokes, Jack, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I tend not to do jokes. I'm not a very funny guy. Stoffel Van Dorn, world champion of season 8 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. So let's hear from the Belgian speaking to Nicky Shields after clinching the world title.
Well, Stoffel Van Dorn for Mercedes EQ, it gives me great pleasure to say you are Season 8 Formula E World Champion. Just describe the emotions.
World champions, wow. It's just the best feeling ever. You know, just look at the season we've had, the consistency. Car has been amazing, and the team has done an amazing job, and yeah, I think every single one of us deserves this. So what we've accomplished is something special.
It hasn't been easy. There have been some really strong competitors. Mitch Evans right on your tail up until today's race.
Yeah, he's pushed me all the way along. Same with Edo. They've, you know, they were there all the time, and it was really about the consistency in the end. You know, they all have more wins than me, but I've got the most podiums, I think.
And what was going through your mind during the course of that race? Could you allow yourself to think about actually becoming world champion?
It was difficult to focus because, you know, the pace at the end was so high. I knew Jake had a 5-second penalty, so I had to kind of stay close enough to him to be able to secure P2. So yeah, it was an awesome day. A lot of concentration. I'm drained after this year. It's been a lot of effort. The effort I've put in, the team put in, is incredible.
Well, you've given us a huge amount of enjoyment to watch your competitive drive over the course of the season. So huge congratulations to Stoffel Vandoorne, our world champion.
So, great performance from Stoffel Vandoorne, finishing in 2nd position in the race. But yeah, he made a good point actually. 8 podium finishes for Stoffel Vandoorne, which is a new record. In a season.
Yeah.
Lucas de Grassi scored 7 in seasons 2, 3 and 4. Now, to be fair to de Grassi, there were less races in those days, which I'm sure he will remind everyone. But still a superb performance from Vandoorne. And what a drive today from Eduardo Mortara. What a wonderful way to end the season. I think he's going to be a happy man. Here he is.
Eduardo Mortara, huge congratulations. Today's race winner, 3rd in the Drivers' Championship and 2nd in the Teams' Championship. What an achievement.
Yeah, I mean, day was extremely positive. I still feel extremely frustrated because we didn't manage actually to score any points in the last 2 race weekends, and it's still in me. I've got so much frustration from that, and but I'm so thankful, you know, for the team for giving me such a strong car with a fantastic season, and to finish like this, it's yeah, this is really what I needed and what they needed.
And today you had a fantastic race. You know, you took control from the very start, taking first from Antonio Felix Costa, and then you didn't look back.
Yeah, I mean, we are normally better racers than we are qualifiers, and I knew that if I could manage to take the lead, we're normally pretty good in managing the races, and from the front, it also helped us managing the temperatures, which were extremely hot, as you can see. And yeah, great day.
We're all feeling the heat for sure. Congratulations and enjoy the celebrations. Eduardo Mortara, today's race winner.
So great drive from Eduardo Mortara. And actually, I'd forgotten about this overtake. It felt like a long time ago now, but his overtake for the lead of the race was absolutely stupendous on Da Costa. Covers the inside. Hello, Antonio. Have a dummy and have a send.
Yeah, he caught him so late, didn't he? He's caught napping a little bit. Then Jake Dennis tried to have a go and tried to get past, but Mortara was having none of it. Robustly defended it to turn 1.
And then he was just never challenged. Got a good safety car restart, pulled away.
Watch him off a turn 22 on that restart. He's gone. Yeah. You know, lit the rear tires up a little bit, but then forget it. That's the last they saw of him.
So
it's a neat for him, and that was it.
And that was how he took the win. Wonderful performance from Eduardo Mortara to take the win with Vandoorne in 2nd place.
Super slow-mo.
Yeah. And there's Evans, who's come along for the championship podium.
He's put on a class performance this year too, hasn't he, Mitch Evans?
Yeah. So difficult to work out what happened for Mitch Evans over the course of the season. We'll be having a look at the driver's room, which will be available later on. We might show it to you here, or we might...
This is a great idea.
Or you can check it out on the socials. The 2 DS to Cheetah drivers. And a well-earned rest. And there is Evans. Yeah, with Evans, he's driven very well at times this season. But you wonder on the off weekends, how much is Evans, how much is the team, how much is the design of the car. There's so much to analyze, because that was the thing for Mercedes EQ. They had no bad days. They didn't have the stellar Jaguar days like Evans yesterday, or Rome, where they win 2 races back to back, or Jakarta. They don't have the stellar days, but they have the tough days.
After 3 races, Mitch Evans had no points. 0.
Yeah.
It was, it just looked terrible. But him, the team, they worked hard. They got it all back on track. He won those 2 races in Rome. And
but then Berlin, Jaguar were nowhere. Okay, he managed to haul 5th and 10th out of it, but they kind of had nothing there. Then New York race 1, they had nothing as well. And then yesterday they did, and today they didn't.
1 pole position. I think the qualifying form hurt them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to work hard. Obviously,
absolutely.
Gen 3 car is going to change things for next year, but they've got to get the qualifying form sorted out. New car, new tyres, all change.
Absolutely. So we're about to get underway with the podium presentations. And Jerome D'Ambrosio is the team representative who is heading up onto the podium. High fives with everybody. Jerome D'Ambrosio was a driver in Formula E, won a couple of races, 3 races actually, for D'Ambrosio, as he climbs up onto the championship, the team winning step. Jake Dennis going up onto the 3rd step. Another podium. Jake Dennis making his way up onto the 3rd step of the podium. Spoke to him on the grid. I said, is a podium doable? He said, didn't feel particularly confident to me.
Was that a yes or no?
No, well, I wasn't really sure. He said the Mercedes-powered cars are going to be quick, so it'll be tough. But I think the contact with Da Costa obviously helped him. But even though he then got a penalty, but a really good performance. There will be the championship podium later on, but I think Van Dorn's going to enjoy this one maybe a little more. He's certainly going to milk 2 podiums. He'll mow at 2 podiums, more likely. And the team have all made their way down there. Big hug with Ian James. Franco Chiacchetti is the man in the spectacles next to Ian James. Van Dorn onto the podium as the world champion. Second place in the race. Fitting to finish with a podium as well. Have you won championships before in like 9th or something, or have you always gone out with a win?
No, I think one of them I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the other guy that was racing, we crashed trying to keep up, and so we just, they pitted me, and I think I finished 16th or something. I didn't care.
Okay, fine. It must be nicer when you're on the podium.
It's amazing, yeah. Either way, he's going to get his own lovely podium in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Second for Stoffel Van Dorn. But for the next couple of minutes, we will pay tribute to this man. One of the loveliest men on the grid. Such a kind man, a clever man, a fantastic racing driver. And Eduardo Mortara takes his 4th win of the year. He won Formula E's 50th race in Hong Kong. He's won Formula E's 100th race in South Korea. Wonder if he'll still be driving at the 150th.
You never know. Everything you said there's true, Jack. The most intense though when he is focused. Unbelievable. What a racing driver.
Yeah. Mortara shakes hands with the dignitaries. And all the other dignitaries as well. Alejandro Agag, Alberto Longo up there, and now the top step of the podium for Eduardo Mortara as he takes the win for Rocket Venturi Racing. And for the 4th time this year, we will hear the Swiss national anthem for Eduardo Mortara. you can still see, despite the happiness of the victory, lying behind those piercing blue eyes that Mortara is so lucky to have, there is that disappointment. Now the Monegasque national anthem for Venturi. Eduardo Mortara, the race winner, but it's Stoffel Vandoorne who wins the championship here in Seoul.
Please welcome to the stage Park Sung-ho, the president and CEO of Hana Bank, to present the trophy to the winning team.
Now the trophy presentations. And that is Park Sung-ho handing out the trophy to Jerome D'Ambrosio, the president and CEO of Hana Bank. Kang Shin-ho, president of the Korean Automobile Racing Association, handing the third place trophy to Jake Dennis. And then Moon Jae-sik,
Please welcome Moon Jae-sik, the
president of Formula E Korea,
to present the trophy to the second place driver.
and it's Stoffel Vandoorne who gets a second place trophy. I'm sure that'll mean to a lot to him still. It's not the big one that he's going to get, but that's the one that got him the big one. But now the race winner.
And finally, please welcome Oh Se-hoon, the mayor of
Oh
Seoul
Se-hoon,
Metropolitan Government,
the mayor of
to
Seoul
present the
Metropolitan
trophy to
Government,
100th race winner, Eduardo
hands the trophy to the winner of the 100th Formula E race and the final race of the season, Eduardo Mortara.
드라이버분들은 이제 포뮬러 1 포디움에서 촬영 시간입니다.
There are the team that have made their way over from the pit lane.
podium selfie.
They're now going to do the selfie on the podium. Other way, you've got to do it the other way. You've got to get in the background. Come on, there we go. We figured it out in the end. Dennis on selfie duties, as he always is, with his big long Mr. Tickle arms. And now, look at Jerome D'Ambrosio is getting ready to sprint. Look at him on the teams, on the team winner trophy. Soo-min Lee hands the Moet Superfan, is the Moet Superfan, and hands the champagne out to Eduardo Mortara. Are we ready? Are we ready? Eduardo Mortara is ready. Mortara, the race winner. Stoffel Vandoorne, the world champion. The team have made their way over. And the celebrations begin. There'll be the championship podium as well in a couple of moments' time that Mortara and Vandoorne will be on. We're basically just swapping out Dennis for Evans. You can see what it means to Vandoorne.
It's possibly the first of many drinks this evening. Stoffel Vandoorne.
There is a, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on air, so maybe I won't, I don't know.
Yeah, moving on. It's quite humid today, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There's a tequila tradition, let's just say, at the Formula E Awards ceremonies later on this evening. So,
oh goody,
prepare yourself, Dario. wear your stretchy waist trousers. Great performance from the top three. And they just dominated. They just... Mortara got it under control and disappeared in a way that he's so good at doing on occasion.
Yeah, just kept managing that, just driving off. He's like, oh look, Jake Dennis is doing a great lap to try and get ahead. Oh, Stoffel Hito Mortara's pulled away even further.
Yeah.
Just mighty performance all day from him.
The fans have been treated to a really entertaining race. First run here at the Seoul circuit. Here's a look at the results after 34 laps of racing. Eduardo Mortara taking the win, 3.7 seconds ahead of Stoffel Vandoorne. Jake Dennis only 4 tenths ahead of Robin Freins after that penalty was applied. Freins himself was only 8 tenths ahead of Oliver Askew in the end. Jean-Eric Verne in 6th, Evans 7th, Cassidy 8th, Buemi 9th, Da Costa 10th, and Lucas de Grassi in 11th position. Da Costa was the man who started on pole position. Further down the order, Alexander Sims in 12th, Sede Cameron 13th, Nato, Turvey and Fenestraz, the 16 finishers. A lot of retirements again. Gunter, De Vries, Verline, Ticktum, Lotterer and Roland all out of the race in the early stages. So,
we never really saw what happened to Gunter. We saw the damage, but I guess was that the
Vries
first?
Got a penalty for it, didn't he? So we saw...
Was that from that incident? No, De Vries was from the Verline incident.
Oh yeah, you're right. Here's a look at the final championship standings. Stoffel Vandoorne, the world champion. Mitch Evans finishing in 2nd, Eduardo Mortara 3rd, Jean-Eric Verne slipping away in the end in 4th position. De Grassi holds on to 5th, and he finishes ahead of Jake Dennis despite them being tied on points. And I think that's because De Grassi has a 2nd place finish where, no, I think it's 3rd place finishes for De Grassi. I think that's how he's ended up ahead of Jake Dennis. Andre Lotterer 12th, 10 points for Oliver Askew in the end to finish in 16th in the championship standings. Really came on strong towards the end of the year. And there's a look at the wonderful track that goes around the circuit. Mercedes EQ at the top of the team's championship standings, double winners. Both championships for 2 years in a row. Venturi finishing 2nd, DS Techeetah in 3rd, Envision in 5th, Avalanche Andretti finishing ahead of Porsche in 6th place. And when you look at the performances that Porsche have had over the course of the year, that's a real upset from the Andretti team. So full credit to them. But Stoffel Vandoorne celebrating on the podium as the world champion. And he will celebrate tonight with the team. And there's a lot of driver market movement because Mercedes EQ are becoming McLaren for next season. Stoffel Vandoorne, look, surely will be racing in Formula E, but it's a bit unknown where, and that must be quite a strange...
I think I know where, I'm just not allowed to say.
Oh yeah, but then that's all a bit of a... Anyway, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
That's an understatement from Jack D. Nichols.
Did you ever win a... Did you win your first championship and then move teams at the end of that year?
Went to NASCAR for a minute.
Went to NASCAR.
Yeah. I hadn't actually won the championship and I decided I was going to NASCAR.
Ah.
Yeah, that was slightly awkward for a couple of races actually with the team.
There's a look at the stadium. The Andretti team are heading back.
I will say that does not change what you've achieved together. It was awkward with the owners of the team that you work with. It's so you've pushed. Everybody's given everything, not just since January, since the first round of the Formula E World Championship, but all the build-up too. So Stoffel and that Mercedes EQ team, they're going to celebrate this one, and because you go into battle together with your team and you form lifelong friendships with these people.
And so many of that Mercedes team are moving to McLaren. Ian James, team principal, he's going to McLaren. Stephen Lane, I believe, Stoffel Vandoorne's race director, race engineer, is going to McLaren. Tony Ross, who's the chief engineer, I think, who won the Formula One World Championship as Nico Rosberg's race engineer, leaving Mercedes after 10 years or so to go and continue heading up the Formula E operation at McLaren. So this nucleus is still going to exist next year. They won't have the Mercedes powertrains, which have been so good for them, but they've got a really, really strong team there.
Absolutely. And a race team is about the people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any sporting team is about the people you've got. and McLaren have got some crackers. It's going to be so interesting to see this new Generation 3 car.
So, I don't know. Dennis and Van Dorn.
Vernon's been a super fan, taking pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. The sun starting to, not starting to set exactly, but just starting to go down a little bit. It's 5:30 in the evening here in South Korea. As the fans wait around for the championship podium that'll be getting underway in a few moments' time to celebrate those top three. After moment of the season, Dario.
Double win in Rome for Mitch Evans was pretty special, I thought. You?
I don't know. I don't know. I really. It's just been a really great year of racing throughout. I've enjoyed pretty much every single race this year. Has been pretty entertaining. Not really known who's gonna win. Maybe Evans getting the win in Jakarta, making the move on Vern in the closing stages.
How many times did you and I finish a race and go, that was a proper motor race?
Yeah. Ian James presumably has been doused in champagne. I know it's humid here, but come on. Can't be that bad. As he makes his way up onto the podium with all the team celebrating down there as well. Really good job from Ian James to put this team together when they were HWA, when they entered Formula E. Didn't manage to win the title in season 5. Well, no, sorry, HWA, they were a customer team. Season 6, they didn't manage to win the title, but 7 and 8, they've done both. James Harmon, Formula E superfan, who's been at 25 of the 100 races.
That's
quarter.
Impressive.
Yeah. Jamie Regal, Alberto Longo, all there. Daniel Luzhinin from ABB. And Alejandro Agag.
In third place, from Rocket Ventures.
Third place on the podium, Eduardo Mortara. Again, the frustrations there because it all just disappeared. He scored 89 points in the 4 races from Berlin through to Marrakesh. And then in the next 5, he scored 4 points. A remarkable
turnaround
dip, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I think it was all quite circumstantial because the Venturis were still quick because De Grassi was scoring well, but just things weren't working out for Mortara. Had the brake failure in qualifying in New York. And plenty of other collisions and
a lot of
scrapes and
yeah, absolutely, Jack. A lot of damage in the races there, and some of that's where he ended up qualifying.
Yeah.
Mitch Evans managing a smile, putting in a great championship campaign as well. 4 wins.
And I guess worth pointing out that had he not had that failure in London, he still isn't champion. So does that help you sleep a little better or be a little more, because coming into this weekend that was the frustration, right? That broke down and whatever.
Yeah, I think it might. Yeah.
Because even if he gave him those points for the 4th place finish in London that was taken away, I don't think he would. I still think he wouldn't be the champion.
You know what? I think he might appreciate hearing that tonight.
Okay.
I really do, because I think that would certainly make me feel a lot better. he's done a great job. He's won a quarter of the races when you actually look at it.
Has James been to more races than Stoffel Van Dorn? Let me just have a look here. No, Van Dorn's done 54 starts. Superfan has been to more than Askew and Giovinazzi and Tictum. That's it, actually, because we didn't really have any debutants last year that stuck around. Here comes the big one. Goodness me, you can see what this means to Van Dorn, can't you? Dario used the word overwhelmed earlier on, and I think it's applicable. The biggest championship victory of his career. So unfortunate last season after being a stellar qualifier and strong racer. So many things out of his control went awry that meant he couldn't be even in the championship fight. This year, he has been Mr. Consistent, but consistently good. Race win in Monaco, but 8 podium finishes. A new formulary record for podium finishes in a season. And now it will be the top step of the podium for Stoffel Van Dorn. Last time he won a championship, it was the GP2 series in 2015. A couple of difficult years in Formula 1 with McLaren, but now the Belgian national anthem for the world champ. So there's the applause from the Mercedes EQ time.
Of the World Championship winning team from Germany.
German national anthem for Mercedes EQ. That's Stephen Lane, the race engineer of Stoffel Van Dorn.
He looks emotional, does old Stephen Lane.
Well, he's been in the championship a while. Never quite managed to win it with Sam Bird. Didn't manage to win it with Nick Cassidy.
Present the trophy to the winning team, Mercedes EQ Formula E team.
Daniel Luzhinin handing out the trophy to Ian James. The rain looks like it's falling a little now. As the storm comes in a little.
Please welcome Alberto Longo.
Alberto Longo, co-founder and chief championship officer of Formula E, has the third place trophy to Eduardo Mortara. It wasn't quite to be for Mitch Evans. Jamie Regal, the CEO of Formula E, hands the trophy to Mitch Evans. But here comes the big one.
And finally, please welcome
Alejandro Agag, the founder and chairman of Formula E.
to present the trophy to our FIA Formula E World Champion.
7 champions in 8 years. Van Dorn is the next to have his name engraved on the Formula E World Championship trophy. 8 podiums in 16 races. Half the time this year he's been on the podium. And that is what has delivered the World Championship. There's no Jake Dennis to take the selfie this time. So Mortara does the honours. Selfies on the podium. Van Dorn, the world champion. Let's go back down to Vernon. Rain's just started, Vernon.
Yes, it has indeed, Jack. The rain has started just in time, to be honest with you, because we were all getting very, very sweaty and very muggy. It's really close. The celebrations are going on behind us. Congratulations, Nikki, to Stoffel Van Dorn.
Absolutely huge moment for him in his career. This has meant so much to him over the last 3 years. You know, not only over the last 3 years, but these guys, ever since they were little kids, they went to bed dreaming of winning a world championship title. They woke up in the morning dreaming and thinking about winning a world championship title. And the amount of work and preparation that has gone into this, not just from Stoffel, but obviously the team behind him, is absolutely huge. There's obviously loads of people back at base as well in the UK, not just the guys that get to fly out here and be at the races and enjoy these moments. So I think it's going to take a while, really, for this to sink in. You know, obviously he's going to enjoy some celebrations, some big celebrations tonight. Hopefully we all will, because it's been a long old season. But yeah, I think he's really got to savor this moment and wake up tomorrow morning thinking, I did it. I finally got the crown.
Yeah, so we leave season 8 behind us. We move to season 9 with a brand new car, new innovations, new tyres, etc., etc. We will see you Mexico, January 2023. But for now, let's go and celebrate!
Woo!
Bravo, Stoffel!
The world's most unpredictable racing series, a brand new ABB FIA Formula E World Championship season.
Prepare to be electrified.
And we go green under the lights. The reigning champion wins again. Contact!
Oh, big hit!
It's just smashed clean off the track.
What a f***ing idiot.
It's a historic day for Porsche as they take their first Formula E win with a 1-2 in Mexico. It's a double win for Mitch Evans in Rome.
Yes, you've done it again!
He is the emperor.
They just won Monaco!
Stoffel Van Dorn moves to the lead of the championship. It's an identical time to the nearest thousandth of a second.
This is the stupidest wheel I've ever seen in my life.
Mortara hits the championship lead with victory in Marrakesh. Woohoo!
Bravo, bravo.
Mitch Evans wins in Jakarta.
Seriously, I'm so fed up.
Oh, they're all off! They're all off! Oh, he's lost it! What a remarkable bit of driving from Evans.
I guess the back is back, we can say it.
What the f*** Kevin's doing?
Yes! Gets it!
Evans has stopped.
Not well.
Just 2 races to go. Mitch Evans did what he had to do today. Evans isn't through to the duels. Stoffel Van Dorn is the world champion.
Yeah!